Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Jordyn and welcome to my May TBR. I am already so excited for the month of May because I am yet again participating in Escape the Readathon, which is a really fun month-long competitive team-based readathon hosted by Lexi over at Books with Lexi. I was a team leader last year. I had so much fun and I was so excited when Lexi asked me again to be a team leader this year. So I am. This year I am on Team Mediums and I'm co-hosting this team with Jessie over at Reading with Jess. With the two of us as team leaders, it is going to be so much fun. And we are Team Mediums. I'm not psychic or anything, but I do have a really good feeling about our team this year. I think we're gonna bring it home. This year, the readathon is cruise ship themed, which is so fun. I love a cruise. And because of the way the readathon works, my reading plans for the whole month are a little bit unknown even to me. We start the readathon with 6 room prompts, which are reading prompts that correspond to 6 rooms on this cruise ship that basically we have to unlock by reading enough books. And then once we unlock the rooms, we open up games. And with those games come additional reading prompts that we don't know what they are. So we have to scramble a little bit and find new books to fit the new prompts. But then once we beat that game, we go back to the original room prompts that we already know. And we go between all of those all month long. It's crazy and chaotic, but so much fun. And because of that, I decided to do something a little unhinged and plan to be able to read my entire owned TBR for this readathon. I have got exactly 30 books on my physical TBR, and while it's highly unlikely that I read all 30 books within the month of May, I did want to at least match each of them with one of the room prompts so that I know I can fit them all in somewhere. And then when the game prompts come up, I will improvise and I'll use the books for other things, but this way, at least having some books identified for each of the room prompts, I can leave myself some options for the whole month. At least that's the plan. I don't really know if it's gonna work, but it's what I'm going with. So the structure of my TBR this month is I'm going to go through the 6 room prompts and tell you which books off of my TBR I have set aside for that specific prompt. I am not giving you any clues as to which prompt my team is starting with. You have to sign up for the readathon and join my team in order to find out that information. But we have already started strategizing, so I do know I'll be starting with one of these stacks. I'm very excited about it, but again, I'm gonna go through all of them in this TBR video. So if that sounds fun and chaotic enough for you, let's get started. All right, I have all of the books in stacks with sticky notes that say which prompt they're for. So which one should we start with? Let's start with a fun one, which is the pool. And the prompt for the pool on this cruise is to read books that have double letters in the title. And Lexi was kind of specific with this prompt. She said that there have to be exactly 2 of the same letter in a title. It can't be more than 2, but as long as there's any letter with exactly 2 in the title, it counts. So I've got a stack of 5 books here that meet that description. So first of all, we have Deep End. It's not for the E's, which is what your eyes probably naturally gravitate towards because there are 3 E's in this title, but there are exactly 2 D's. Also, it's pool themed, so how could I not pick it for this prompt? What should I say about these books since I have 30 of them? Probably just gonna say the general genre and not go into plot details. If I do end up reading these, you will see them in vlogs throughout the month and also in a month-end wrap-up. But this is by Allie Hazelwood. It is, as far as I understand, a pretty smutty contemporary romance between like 2 swimmers or something like that. Another book that fits the pool prompt is Mr. Penumbra's 24-Hour Bookstore by Robin Sloan. I don't even know what genre this is. I think it's contemporary fiction, maybe a little bit of sci-fi to it. And when I saw this title, I thought, surely there has to be exactly 2 of some letter in here. And after studying it for a while, there are indeed 2 M's. And maybe 2 of some other letter. I don't know. We've also got Thief River Falls by Brian Freeman. I think this is a mystery thriller. And in this title, there are exactly 2 L's. Then we've got a historical fiction book that I'm excited to read, The Lion Women of Tehran by Marjan Kamali. This one has exactly 2 H's. And then last in this stack is, I think, a sci-fi book called Death of the Author by Nnedi Okorafor. And in this title, there are exactly 2 A's. I was pleasantly surprised at actually how many books have double letters in the titles. I was a little bit worried about that prompt, but actually so many of my books fit. All right, the next prompt we can talk about is The Arcade, and the prompt for The Arcade is an underrated book. This can definitely be up for interpretation. I decided to go ahead and sort my owned TBR shelf on Goodreads by number of ratings in reverse order and look at the books that have the fewest number of ratings at all. and that's how I determined my underrated books on my TBR. So actually the book that has the fewest number of ratings on my entire Goodreads shelf is called This Is Me Trying by Raquel Marie. I believe this is a hard-hitting contemporary young adult, maybe romance, or maybe just a coming of age book. Not really sure, but I do believe it's emotional. Another book on this stack is called Ruthless Ends by Katie Wismer. This is an adult fantasy book. It's book 4 in a series. Actually, both of these books that I just talked about, both of these are author tubers or people who make or have made YouTube videos about writing on YouTube. And I like to follow them and support them by buying their books. Some other underrated books, we've got Flirting with Disaster by Naina Kumar. I believe this is an adult contemporary romance. Another aardvark book I've got that's underrated is Junie by Erin Crosby Eckstein. I believe this one is historical fiction. And last but not least, this one fits the description of my description of underrated just barely. I think it's because it's a pretty new release, but it's The Griffin Sisters' Greatest Hits by Jennifer Weiner. I believe this is either a contemporary or a historical fiction book about two sisters who are into music. So I think that that sounds interesting. And all of those 5 books that I just talked about all have fewer than 5,000 ratings on Goodreads, which I feel like makes them pretty underrated. Alrighty, what is next? Let's go with my biggest stack, which is my book of genre blends. Lexi was also pretty particular about what counts for this prompt. In order for a book to be considered a genre blend, it has to be at least 2 genres that are like the highest level type of genres that you can have. So think mystery, thriller, fantasy, horror, romance, science fiction, like very high level. We're not allowed to count subgenres. We're not allowed to count like tropes because those are not genres. We're not allowed to count age ranges. We're not allowed to count formats. And we're not allowed to count just general fiction or nonfiction, which I think makes total sense. I'm aligned with the definition here, but there have been a lot of questions in the Discord about what counts as a genre blend. But I think I have a stack picked out here with a lot of good options. One of my personal favorite types of genre blend books are sci-fi thrillers. Think like Blake Crouch type books. I think this one should definitely fit that bill. We've got Disillusion by Nicholas Binge. I have read one other book by this author before, and it definitely was a sci-fi thriller, so I'm thinking that this will be the same. Similarly, we've got Dr. No by Percival Everett. Very similar color vibes we've got going on here, but another sci-fi thriller / mystery that make it count as a genre blend. And one sci-fi sort of mystery blend that I've got on my shelves is The Strange Case of Jane O by Karen Thompson Walker. I think this one is slower paced, so definitely more mystery than thriller, but again has that sci-fi element to it. And then I've got a whole series on my shelves that is definitely a genre blend as far as I understand, because I think the Inheritance Games trilogy, which I think actually has more than 3 books in the series now, but I only own the first 3. I believe this is a young adult mystery series that also is romance. So I think this series should count, and I'm excited to finally get to this series because I've been putting it off for a while. And then last but not least, we've got, I think this is like a triple genre blend. I think I've got a thriller, mystery, horror blend here with American Rapture by CJ Lead. And it actually might even also be sci-fi. I don't know for sure, but Goodreads had several genres listed for this one, so I'm excited to also give this one a try. Okay, the next prompt we can go with is The Dining Room, and the prompt for this one is a book that matches your current outfit at the time you pick the book to read. Now, I am not cheating with this prompt. I have video evidence of when I picked these books for my TBR. Actually, every month on my Patreon at the lowest tier, I do behind the scenes videos to show my process for planning content and also planning my monthly TBRs every month. And so this month I filmed my whole process of figuring out which of these books fit which prompts. It was a very fun video, and at the time I was wearing a gray sweatshirt with like pastel rainbow colors on it. So that's the color vibe that I matched covers to. It counts, I recorded it, it counts. So the books that I picked out to fit this prompt are, first of all, Maybe Not by Colleen Hoover. This is a novella that does meet the page minimum for the readathon, and it's part of a series. I have not read any of the series. They actually are part of a different prompt. So hoping I can get to those ones obviously first. But this one did match my outfit at the time probably the best because it again has that whitish grayish background and some kind of pastel light colors on the inside. The next book that fit my outfit the best was Demon Copperhead by Barbara Kingsolver. This I think is a historical fiction book that is a retelling of David Copperfield. Is that right? I'm not exactly sure, but again, white background and pastel rainbow vibes. And last but not least, this one is maybe the biggest stretch, but my patrons told me it counted, and actually it matches my outfit today, so it's gonna count. But it is Liquid, a love story by Mariam Rahmani. Again, gray-white background with some pastel-y colors on the inside, but actually it matches even better today because it's got the two different shades of pink going on. So we're definitely counting it for the outfit prompt. What next? Okay, let's go with the Gym and Spa, and the prompt for this one is a book that you've been putting off. So I selected a bunch of books that I've had on my physical TBR for way too long. The first one I have is The Humans by Matt Haig. I believe this is a sci-fi book, and I've still got the receipt in this book from when I bought it in April of 2023. So it's been sitting on my shelves for 2 years, which for me is a really, really long time. But I think by anyone's standards, that is a book that I have been putting off, and it's been for no reason. Similarly, I also already mentioned the Maybe Someday series by Colleen Hoover. These are the 2 full-length novels in that series. I've been holding on to these forever. I think this is my last couple of books that I haven't read from this author, so I'd like to just knock them out so that I can say I've read her entire backlist. But this is one of her earlier book series, and it is adult contemporary romance. And then I've also got one chunky book that I have had on my physical TBR for a long time that I've been putting off, frankly, because of the size. It's called One More Step. It's actually an anthology or a collection of short stories from a bunch of contemporary romance authors, I think, including Colleen Hoover. And I just need an excuse to pick this one up because even if it takes me a long time, I just really need to knock it off of my physical TBR. All right, and then last but not least, we've got the stack of books that fit the prompt for theater, which is a popcorn read. So this can be any book that you feel like you are just speeding through, regardless of how fast you actually read it, as long as you feel like you just want to keep flipping the pages, you want to get to the end. My mind immediately goes to short books. Again, it doesn't have to be to fit this prompt, but I do have 2 that I think are going to be perfect. The first one is Apartment Women by Gu Byung-mo. This is a contemporary fiction book that was translated from Korean. It is very short in size. It's got around 200 pages. The writing is pretty spaced out, so I think this is just going to be the quickest of quick popcorn reads. Same with this next one. We've got 24 Seconds From Now by Jason Reynolds, which is a young adult contemporary book. Again, it's very short. It's even a little bit of a small book in size. And again, a very large text, very spaced out. This is going to be a very quick one. And last but not least, the last 4 books on my physical TBR, and that I am certain will be popcorn reads, is this beautiful boxed set of the Hunger Games series by Suzanne Collins. These books are beautiful. They've all got really beautiful covers to them in all different colors. They've all got printed sprayed edges that are colorful and beautiful. I picked these up on a whim, but now that they're on my physical TBR, I gotta make time for them and read them. So what better time than in a readathon? But I do know for sure that these will be popcorn reads. So that is it. Those are all of the 30 books that are on my TBR for May. We'll see how close I get to finishing all of them. Let me know what's on your TBR for May. Let me know if you're participating in Escape the Readathon. If you are, let me know if you're on Team Mediums or if you decided to go in a different direction. I promise I won't be mad, but if you haven't decided, Team Mediums is where it's at. Otherwise, let me know if you've read any of the books on my TBR that you think I definitely need to prioritize. I'm gonna need a little help actually deciding what order to read these books, but I'm so excited to get to as many of them as I can. Other than that, I don't think I have anything else, so thank you so much for watching this video, and I will see you in my next one.